Welcome to Season 2 of Baltic Boss Babes. We're kicking off this season with an extraordinary guest, Sana Ross, a neuroscience expert and leadership coach who's transforming the way we think about high performance and well-being. In this episode, Sana shares her transformative journey from a high-flying finance professional to a pioneer in the integration of neuroscience into leadership and performance coaching. If you're interested in how brain science can enhance your productivity, creativity, and leadership skills, you're in for a treat. Grab your notebook and let's dive into a conversation that's bound to change the way you tackle your biggest challenges. Let's begin. Baltic Boss Babes Podcast, Unfiltered Edition, Season 2, Episode 1.
Hello everybody, this is Baltic Boss Babes and we are very happy to see you all again. It seems like forever ago we had the last podcast episode and we have prepared a brand new amazing season 2 of our podcast, and we have so many wonderful Baltic Boss Babes and even beyond lined up for you. We are definitely going to surprise you with some of them, and I am happy to introduce to you today one of my close friends and colleagues that I have been working with for a while now, Sana Ross, who is a badass neuroscience expert by day and a wonderful mom by night and all kinds of other exciting things that she's doing. So yeah, without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Sana Ross.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure, first of all. About me, my journey is a blend of leadership experience and a deep dive into the world of neuroscience and performance. I spent over a decade in leadership roles, guiding teams, driving growth, But at the time when I hit 30, I was completely, utterly burned out. And I realized that while I was excelling on the outside, something wasn't quite right in the inside. So that's when I started exploring performance and neuroscience, initially as the way to heal myself. But it quickly turned into a passion. I became fascinated by how our brains drive our behaviors, decisions, and ultimately success. That experience led me to pivot my career, integrating those insights into leadership and into education and then coaching. Now, with years of experience under my belt, I'm on the mission to help others lead and perform at their best without sacrificing their well-being. It's been challenging, but incredibly rewarding path, and I'm grateful for every twist and turn along the way.
That sounds amazing, and honestly, given that we have worked together over the past few years, I can say only the best things about your coaching and mentorship skills, as well as integration of neuroscience. Neuroscience seems like such a far-fetched, knowing that you come from finance and business world and then shifting so paradoxically into a completely new field. And now we learned that that was because of inner struggle that you have faced in the past, and like most of the changes happen when there are a lot of struggles. Could you tell us more about the journey that you have gone through to end up in the leader position? Did you understand that you are good at leadership already from high school activities or maybe throughout university? How did that road look for you?
I was incredibly lucky to receive a lot of training and mentorship from the company I worked with. They trained us for 1 year to not just hit the metrics, but to analyze people's behavior and communicate correctly so you got what you need, basically. They trained us not just to read financial part of the business, but to read people, negotiate, and so on. So And actually, my role model was my father. He was like great leader, and I learned from him. So probably it's like it's been trained in me throughout my life. Not the easy way, but everything good in life is not easy. Yeah, something like that.
Okay, yes, you kind of touched already, like the next question that I had in mind regarding the role models and people who influenced and inspired you. So you say it's your father on one hand. Is there somebody else, or who are the people that you have looked up to and said, oh God, I would love to be someone like him, her, or they? Maybe you have some examples or could suggest some that our listeners would be eager to check out and maybe get some inspiration there after, of course, have checked out you as well.
Thanks. So, yeah, I thought about this question, like who influenced me. Of course, it was so many incredible people in my life, but maybe a few stands out. For the last 5 years, when I started to dig deeper into human performance, into neuroscience, and everything that I'm giving away as a coaching or training, I tested on myself first, because the first thing was egoistical, I would say, because I looked at the tools, frameworks, and system for myself. First of all, I never want to be burned out again. It was a big motivation for me, getting back into role models. Among women, Dr. Tara Swart was a huge influence for me. Her work on blending neuroscience and practical application of neuroscience to leadership, it's just brilliant. So I learned a lot from her lectures, articles, and so on. Brene Brown also, her insights on courage and also vulnerability, like as a leader especially, it's wonderful. So these women have shown me like the power of combining science and humanity. When it comes to men, well, I have to give shout out to Dr. Andrew. His incredible work and dive into science of performance and wellness. Like it's profoundly influenced my approach to work. And Dr. Joe Dispenza, his work on mind-body connection, it's absolutely great. And as for like historical figures, because you mentioned in the question, like what historical figures, I thought hard about it. What I came up with, it's Leonardo da Vinci. It's like he was a true polymath who seamlessly blended science and art. I like to think that in my own way, I'm following his footsteps by merging the worlds of leadership and science. His ability to see these connections where others saw none, it's something I really strive to emulate every day.
Oh, that sounds amazing. I really do hope you boss babes are listening and you could find your own Leonardo da Vinci in your life, or at least something similar to that, seeing different kind of connections between different kind of events, people, and something you have heard or read. It's actually a game changer. Sana is one of the examples of how you could actually excel at what you're doing. There are so many different things we can talk about coming from like a very mathematical background as finance and mixing it with neuroscience, which is also science, but at the same time something abstract, right? So because nobody has actually figured out the brain yet until the end. And then coming here and talking to us, that's amazing. But I do have to ask, like, we all know that women are coming across different kind of struggles in their roles and decisions that they are making. Like, I know from myself that I feel extremely amazing when I can break some stereotypes. It actually gives me a great dose of dopamine, right? Because I can go to the guy and say, ha, I proved you wrong. I can't do this, or I exceeded some expectations. I'm actually really curious, and this is one of my favorite questions to ask to other boss babes. What kind of stereotypes have you broken or proved wrong to somebody who had said that you can't do this? What are those key moments when you have shown that this is not only something men could do or something niche people could do, but you also?
Great question. So I've been a high achiever in man-dominated industries like automotive, like finance, banks, and so on. So it wasn't easy, of course, as any type of leadership, because maybe the biggest stereotype I've had to break is the idea that women have to lead in a traditionally masculine way to be effective. The whole be tough, don't show emotions, all of this nonsense. So I tried this way. It was not so effective, I would say, for me. So I've embraced my strengths, empathy, intuition, collaboration, and used them to lead in my own way. It wasn't easy at first, of course, especially in these industries that are dominated by more traditional leadership styles. But I've learned that authenticity is my superpower. It's about leading with heart.
So you prefer giving everybody cookies before you take out the whip if they misbehave?
Well, it's more like, okay, guys, here's the problem. What do you think? Let's think about it. Not just, okay, here's the problem and here's how we're going to solve it. So it doesn't work good at all. There's no creativity, innovation, and also people hate that.
What was the reactions when you first introduced this kind of leadership method?
I learned on the go, tested things carefully, and saw the results. I always worked with the founders, with the C-level people, and they don't care how I achieve things. They want results. If something works, they don't touch it. It depends, of course, on people, but what I learned, when you achieve, no one cares how. And if you lose, they starting to poke into you. So when you cannot show the results. So I just did my best to show them results. Simple as that.
Have you had them happening when you couldn't deliver the results?
Oh, yeah. Well, partially my burnout was based on not delivering things. And at that time, no one knows about like burnout and so on. And especially there was a company where like male dominated, this harsh leadership style and so on. So partially my burnout was because of that. And when I stopped delivering, they just fire me. That's it. Simple as that.
That is harsh.
So, oh yeah, I know. So, and after that, I thought like it should be a better way. It should be something. So it helped me. I'm thankful now for this harsh experience because I am who I am right now.
Right. We are coming to a point where we start to ask a little bit more uncomfortable questions. Of course, getting fired is never a pleasant experience. In the long run, you could look back and realize that definitely was a good thing that happened to you. Could you tell us a little bit more about how you handled uncomfortable conversations? Have you ever found yourself in a very uncomfortable position where when you now look back at it, you think, I probably should have done something different? Or maybe you look back and say, no, I actually did the best that I could. Could you name an example when you had this kind of uncomfortable conversation with somebody either a boss, fellow leader, or, different kind of investors or somebody that you have encountered that have challenged you in a way, and then you had to manage this situation, and how did you do it?
Yeah, the joys of uncomfortable conversations. So, one that probably stands out because it was not long ago. I don't remember. It was so many of them. And maybe I'm lucky because I was trained to negotiate with different kind of people. So I'm rather prepared for such things. But as for latest one, it was with a client who was absolutely set on leadership approach that I knew wasn't gonna fly. So, these people who are pushing for command and control style, and they I am proud that I know how I should work. So, and I knew it would backfire and it will lead to disengagement, burnout in their team. So navigating it was so tricky. We negotiating, we talking, and I know that I can change situation. I needed to balance respect for their experience and also my conviction that science-backed leadership could offer a better way. So I approached it by first acknowledging their perspective. People need to feel heard, right? So then I laid out the science behind why their approach might not get the result they wanted. Of course, it wasn't easy. There were some tense moments, but by framing it as a shared goal of wanting the best for their team, for the company, we eventually found common ground. What I would do differently, and I actually implemented it, I'd involve them earlier in the process, bringing the science from the get-go, rather than waiting until we were at this crossroads. Building that understanding and trust up front could have made this conversation much smoother. Yes, it was crazy hard, but I learned from it. So my business and me got better because of this uncomfortable situation.
What doesn't kill us makes us stronger. I was thinking about what an amazing example you are setting. Recently, I had a conversation with an amazing lady who is more on the masculine side of things. That works for her. And there are others, badass women, who are leading with gentle care. And that's also okay. The bottom line here is be as you are, and you are going to find your right space and place, and you will manage to go through it. It's very important to keep your inner strength and line in order. Be sure of who you are, and if you are not sure of who you are, we can always ask you, and you will help us find a way, like you did with me. That was completely amazing. Ladies, girls, and boss babes and boss guys who are listening as well, as we have male audience, don't be ashamed to be who you are, but there's always room for referencing what you have done and looking back at how you have done something and seeing the result. So your result was that you implemented some new things and worked even better the next time. It doesn't matter that there was this really uncomfortable conversation, right? In the end, you managed to get something wonderful out of it. So take these messages away, my ladies and guys, because this is very precious stuff. Getting to know you a little bit better, I would like to share some insights about you. What books, movies, or songs you find inspirational for tough times, for example, when you have to pick yourself up, when you might not have family or friends around you, could you share a little bit that side of you as well with us? What is helping you? What is inspiring? What is the latest book you read that you thought was absolutely amazing? Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I love sci-fi and fantasy. This is my guilty pleasure. It's where I go to unwind and let my imagination run wild.
Star Trek fans, be aware.
But, it's not much time to read, like sitting and reading. So I listen to audiobooks. As for examples of the best audiobooks I've listened recently, it's two of them. It's Oprah's What I Know for Sure. She reads that and it's wonderful. And Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. Both are like packed with wisdom and delivered in such personal, engaging way that it feels like a conversation with a friend. I love both of these books and I recommend it. When the author of the book reads that in the way that he feels right, it's incredible. I love it so much. And his voice. I am all about big mind-bending stuff like Interstellar. Also, I am a fan of pretty much every Marvel movie ever made. There's something about this combination of science fiction and epic storytelling that really resonates with me. I don't know, maybe podcasts. I am a fan of podcasts. And the two that I listen to every day, it's Huberman Lab and Perform by Dr. Andy Galpin. It's science-backed insights, especially when it comes to optimizing performance and understanding how our brain works. It's very useful for me, but it's a long episode, so like 1.5 hours, 2 hours, sometimes 3 hours. So be ready for that. If you're into how our brain and body works, I highly recommend that.
But that's very interesting. It's not really a guilty pleasure in the professional sense, but it actually kind of works as brain food for you to be inspired and use it in your professional career as well. It's amazing when you can find something that gets you very excited about things and then you can implement in your life and actually see results. I think there's dopamine flowing all over the place. Ladies, please share your experience in the comment section. Like for me, there is no bigger pleasure in life than seeing something you have created or you want to test and you see the results actually changing something. Like even advice you have given to your girlfriend or something, and then you see that, oh, it actually made a difference, right? It's such a pleasure. So yeah, I mean, this sounds like one of those times when you can hear something, be inspired by it, and then move on and see it work on your customers and see like, wow, they actually were talking something very meaningful there. Not just for sake of having a conversation. But I mean, I'm very curious, like, you are reading and listening to podcasts and everything. Does that go together with some comfort food as well?
I mean, I'm not into some sweets or I'm like boring person about this. But for me, comfort food is this bowl of Greek yogurt with all the fixings. For example, right now when it's summer, it's berries, bananas. I love blueberries and raspberries. Not just because they are nice, but for fiber. It's more about performance because practice what you preach. Your performance, it's not just about your brain, it's about your body. So I needed to learn about that too, to give that 360 degrees, I would say. I also have the program, personal performance program, 360 degrees. That includes all of this, like mind part and body part. And I tested everything on myself. I'll continue to perfect everything, learning so it would be sustainable. I'm a lazy person. I don't like too much effort. So I don't believe that complicated stuff can stick. Something that you can do every day rather easily can become your habit and can become your lifestyle. So I'm always looking for something that can make me healthier, energized, and more effective, I would say. with food, with my activities, everything. So my favorite comfort food, that's why Greek yogurt, because it's the good stuff, including proteins. And also berries that is full of fiber, which is hard to get. I love it. It's so perfect for me. And it's like a dessert, but not so sweet of the dessert, you know? And it's good for my health. It's good for my energy. It's good for my gut. So it's comfort food.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, I am all chocolate and sweets, unfortunately, I must say. I think the ones that are actually looking after certain diets are going to be very pleased to hear something like this.
Actually, if you like sweets, you just add honey to the yogurt. I mean, of course, there's so many people who love chocolate, for example. Just eat dark chocolate. No problem at all. Everything can be substituted and changed if you need to, because, you know, the weird thing about motivation, it's hard to find motivation. So start with discipline.
Definitely. Since we are coming to discipline, we do understand that we are all just people, right? We can't be 100% all day, every day. It's just physically impossible. So you are actually the best person to ask this question. What is your productivity hack? And after you've been productive, what is the thing that you do to actually relax? We did figure out that one of them is watching some sci-fi movie or indulging yourself in some crazy book every now and then. What is it that you do to be very productive? Maybe you can give us some hints and tips. And what is the thing that you do afterwards to actually switch you off, not to be crazed all night?
My go-to hack for productivity is to leverage the science of ultradian rhythms. Research shows that our brains work in cycles of about 90 minutes, followed by 15 to 20 minute deep. So I structure my workday around this rhythm, working in focused 90-minute blocks, followed by short breaks to recharge. Within these 15-20 minutes, I can do some strength exercises, for example, or eat something. It depends on the time of the day, so it's more than enough time. During these 90 minutes, when I work, I eliminate all distractions, go deep into the task, and then take a break to move around, grab a snack, simply breathe. This cycle helps me maintain high levels of focus and energy throughout the day without burning out. For relaxation, I'm all about mindfulness meditation. Science shows that just a few minutes of mindfulness a day can increase gray matter in the brain, especially in areas that are related to memory, learning, emotional regulation. So it's my go-to for refreshing my mind and reducing stress. Just 10 minutes, focused breathing or walking meditation can make a world of difference.
Do you do your own meditations, or do you have some preferred, I don't know, YouTube or Spotify channel where you are picking up guided meditations? How does that work for you?
Well, I listen to guided meditation, but it depends. Sometimes I just need to walk without anything, like listening to the sound of birds chirping. Sometimes I need pumping me up with some additional motivation. You know, there's guys who are shouting at you, yes, you're perfect, you're so strong. For me, sometimes it's not so mindfulness, but sometimes I need that. So I'm listening to myself. If I feel that just breathing is not enough, because it was too hard of a conversation with someone, I'm gonna use guided meditation. There's so many apps. Sometimes I just need to breathe, like boxing breathing. When you inhale for 4, then you hold it for 4, and then breathe out for 4, and so on. As for fitness, strength training and high-intensity interval training. It's quick, efficient, and also boosts both physical and mental performance. That's what's great about HEAT is that it not only gets your heart rate and burns calories, but it also triggers the release of endorphins. It's feel-good chemicals in the brain that help reduce stress and improve your mood. Plus, studies show that HEAT can improve cognitive functions like memory and attention. So it's a win for both body and brain.
I hope everybody is grabbing their pens and rewinding conversation a few more times back and writing this down, because this is pure gold. Like, I actually am trying to implement as many advice as possible from Sana in our sessions together, so it actually does work. I can put my stamp of approval on this. Since we are coming towards the end of our show today, I have just a few more questions to ask. Is there something else that we forgot to ask you that you would be very excited to tell us about?
Probably something like, what's the one thing that keeps you grounded when everything feels overwhelming? I mentioned that breathing is very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds simple, but there is a real power in it. Controlled breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which helps to calm the mind and body. When I start to feel overwhelmed, I take a few moments to breathe deeply. As I mentioned, like this, in through the nose for a count of 4, hold for 4, and out through the mouth for 4. It brings me back to the present moment, slows down the racing thoughts, and gives me the clarity I need. So it's my anchor in the storm, and it works every time.
Or if that doesn't work for somebody, you can always hit the pillow. Once you have gone crazy, then you can calm down and start the breathing, and then you're gonna get grounded for sure.
Well, yeah, you can do that too.
The last question that I want to ask you today is, there are so many wonderful ladies out there coming out of high school, out of university, with absolutely no clue how to operate and be in this world. Like, what would be your advice and suggestion to them, how to navigate their decisions and how to actually find their place?
I would say the world is overwhelming. So my advice probably is, remember that there's no such thing as an ideal work-life balance. Chasing after the perfect work-life balance is a recipe for stress and frustration. The idea that you can neatly compartmentalize your work and personal life into perfect halves is not only unrealistic, but it's also incredibly stressful. What you should aim for instead is dynamic balance. Think of it like riding a bike. You're constantly adjusting to stay upright. And sometimes you lean more in one direction than the other. The same goes for work and life. There will be times when your work demands more of your attention. It depends on what is on your plate right now. Remember that there will also be moments when your personal life needs to take the front seat. The key to success in this, to be flexible and adjust as you go. And scientific research backs this up. Studies show that the pressure to achieve the perfect balance can actually increase stress and decrease overall well-being. Instead of striving for an impossible ideal, focus on what matters most in the moment and be kind to yourself when things don't go as planned. This dynamic approach not only will reduce your stress, but also allows you to be more present and effective in whatever you're doing right now. It's not about perfectly splitting your time. It's about fluidly shifting your focus and energy to where it's needed most.
Oh, that is such honey to my ears. That it is absolutely wonderful way to finish this episode. So yeah, I mean, ladies, just adjust to the flow, right? As a good friend of mine told me, all the women are like rivers. We can be either like really, really small, slow river flowing somewhere, or we can be, like a waterfall falling from the mountain and destroying everything in its path, right? So remember that you are all of them, the calm one, the small one, the crazy one, and everything, and not be too harsh on yourself. Biggest thing that I took away from my time with Sana was she said, always be kind to yourself first. Like, be humane. Don't ask too much of yourself because you're gonna destroy yourself. Nobody is saying that you won't have periods when you have to work harder than everybody else, but it means that you treat yourself after, not run yourself down like a horse who can't move his legs anymore. Be humane, be amazing, and check out Sana's page every now and then for amazing tips on neuroscience and productivity hacks. So I want to thank you so much for being part of this episode and for inspiring. At least I was really inspired yet again. And I hope that all of you ladies out there were inspired as well. Thank you, Sana, for being here with us today.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
I want to remind you that we are always very happy if you follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, and on Facebook, and subscribe to our channel. We have new episodes coming up every couple of weeks, and we will keep you posted. We are very proud to be sponsored by Workland here in the Baltic States, providing amazing podcast studios for us. Thank you. Keep us posted in the comment section about how you are doing. See you next time. Bye.
And that's a wrap for the first episode of Season 2 of Baltic Boss Babes, Unfiltered Edition. Thank you for joining us and our guest Sana Ross for an enlightening discussion on the power of neuroscience in leadership and life management. Remember to follow us on all our social media platforms for updates and sneak peeks of upcoming episodes. We appreciate your support and can't wait to bring you more inspiring stories like Sana's. Until next time, keep breaking barriers, embracing science, and leading with heart. Thanks for listening, and see you in the next episode.